Welcome to episode 24 of the Global Exclusive Podcast. I'm your host, Hazard, and I'm joined by the usual lemmings, Baros, Cotton, Dream, Muspel, and Shadow. And I just want to say I pulled Rem off a Type 0 ticket. Thank you very much.
God, Jesus Christ! Like you're Satan today, really?
So, are we going to start off by making Baros jealous? I'm game.
No, fuck you, Cotton. I saw your pulls. Go die in a ditch.
We can go into more detail on luck later on.
Muspel's got our sponsor this week.
This week, the Global Exclusive Podcast is sponsored by Gumi. Here at Gumi, we make the best mobile games in the world, and our players love us. Isn't that right, players? Why are you looking at us like that? Did we... Oh shit, we forgot the anniversary. I mean... No, of course we remembered the anniversary. We got you lapis, and tickets, and some slot tokens that... I mean, you can't use them yet, but that's part of our plan. It's not because we're making this up at the last second. Definitely not for that reason. We remember the anniversary. Gumi. GL is a different game.
We hear you. We hear you. We hear you. We hear you. We hear you.
I will say, I'm not actually mad about the anniversary. I feel like people are forgetting that the anniversaries have generally not been as good as people want them to be, and people are acting like this is something new when it really isn't.
I still think we're definitely worse off than the previous anniversaries.
I think you forget every single previous anniversary has been marked by people throwing gigantic tantrums on Reddit because we're getting less than they think.
Okay, previously it has been a tantrum because they're comparing to JP and they're saying like, hey, we got less than JP. But if I just objectively try to look at the type of rewards we received the other anniversaries, it has always been freebies, at least in the form of rainbow tickets, which is kind of what I'm expecting for an anniversary, and especially like now in FFBE where a rainbow ticket is literally worth less than a 4-star ticket. So it's kind of, like they gave us not even 10 plus 1 pulls.
We're probably going to get guaranteed rainbow tickets from the slot tokens, because those have like milestone rewards for using a certain number of coins, because the previous ones have.
Yeah, probably, but that's like in August. And no. Yeah? Is it in August?
Maybe.
I can't even keep track.
Here's my issue. It's not even about the rewards. Like, whatever. It's a gacha game. Anything that's free is cool. But it doesn't feel like an anniversary. It doesn't feel special. But the thing that is upsetting to me is the same thing that's always upset me, which is Gumi has the worst PR in the world. They are so bad at communicating with us effectively and making us feel like their voices are actually being heard.
Yeah, what's up with that? Like, did you all see the producer's message we got in our inbox like yesterday?
It was incredibly tone deaf. Like, I appreciate the slight effort of saying we hear you, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Let's get. Thank you. You hear us. We actually, we are heard. But
that is good.
Then they said the same thing that they did before, which is we're spreading out over 3 months. We know everyone's upset about it, but here, let me just tell you the name of the next phase. No details whatsoever. And then also there's going to be a live stream announcing what the rewards are going to be. But I just don't understand how that solves anything. I don't understand how, like, what the purpose
but it didn't.
was.
Like, as you said, they said, oh, we heard you, but it didn't address the worries at all. Like, they just acknowledged, yeah, we see Reddit is in flames. And that's about it.
You guys remember last anniversary when they actually announced all the rewards that we had hoped for, except for the big one that we actually wanted to hear about, which was the login tickets. And then they waited till Reddit had burned itself to the ground, and Facebook and Discord and everything else. And then they're like, oh yeah, by the way, we're doing those too.
Yeah, so it's almost like they planned on not doing them and then changed their mind in the last second. Although probably that's not what happened. They probably had their shit together all the way from the start.
At this point, no one should be surprised about this. It is disappointing, but it is kind of expected. So the anniversary does feel special in that it is a representation of how we usually feel about Gumi in the game, which is, I think they should be doing better than they are. I mean, there's so many things that are great about this game. I just think that Gumi, if they managed expectations a little bit better and communicated more effectively, I think it would go a long, long way.
Exactly. So just by managing expectations, they could have gone, hey, players, we're sorry. There won't be an anniversary in July. We're going to give you 5k lapis as compensation, and then we're going to revisit the actual anniversary in August. That tone would have been entirely different, and people would be, dissatisfied maybe, but not even close to being as upset as they are now. But instead, they're trying to pretend there is an anniversary. What they should have just said is, there is no anniversary. We're sorry, here's 5k lapis.
It's like Shadow said last week. Sounds like a personal story about forgetting your wife's anniversary and getting her chocolates and say, oh, the real present's coming in a month and a half. I'll let you know what it is.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. That's a great analogy.
But, I know we rag on Gumi. It is a great game, but there's just so many things that they shoot themselves in the foot over that I really think it's unnecessary. So,
yeah.
Well, we can move on.
Yeah.
This week, we actually have an exciting banner for Dream Blitz. And
for several of us.
Well, for you...
No, mostly for Dream Blitz.
Well,
yeah,
for Dream Blitz, because you actually like Type 0. For the rest of you fools, because you like meta.
Also, hold on. Dream, so you like Type 0. Have you ever played Type 0?
No, I haven't. That's the weird thing. And I realized this.
How?
I realized this a few months ago when I was planning to pulling for Ace. I think I have... This sounds really weird, but I have nostalgia for Ace from the early days of FFBE.
I can actually relate to this because I remember... So Ace was my first 5-star that I pulled, like 5-star base unit. And when I pulled Ace, I was so happy that I actually bought Final Fantasy Type 0, the game, and played it.
Yeah, I had the exact same thing happen to me.
Yeah,
I bought FF Type 0 on my PS Vita because I pulled Ace in FFB, just saying. So Gumi, this is actually happening.
Type 0 might be unique. Type 0 might be unique in that every single Type 0 rainbow has been, at some point, a meta-relevant unit. I don't think any other game has that.
Queen was relevant. Queen was a
briefly relevant.
Yeah, I was going to say, Rem...
Yeah,
she was still
Queen is certainly the least relevant of these, but she did have a brief moment.
Yeah, but was Rem ever meta? Like, I know she was always... Like, she was really good, but was she the best?
Yes.
Rem's meta right now.
Meta doesn't necessarily mean the best. It just means, like...
Oh, I thought you meant, like, okay.
I do think Rem is very underrated. I actually probably have the same amount of nostalgia then as Dream does, because my memory of Type 0 was using Rem to beat the robot trial, a guy on back in the day. I used Rem as my solo damage dealer. It only took 4.5 hours.
I remember those strats. We need to go down memory lane again and talk about how people beat the first guy.
But that's kind of how I felt about Rem. So when I got her off that Type 0 ticket, I was actually really happy because as you guys know, I had no plans to pull on this banner. But I was excited that I got Rem because I really liked her character early on.
Oh, hey, Hazard. Can you remind me again of how you pulled the fucking unit on a ticket, please?
So they give out Type 0 tickets as you play the MK event. And you get 8, something like that. 8 of them, 6, 7, 8. Anyway, so I pulled the first few, and they were all golds, and none of them broke or did anything, and I was a little disappointed. And I clicked the last one, and as I clicked it, I said, "You're going to be a rainbow, and you're going to be Rem." And it came down as a gold, it broke into rainbow, and it broke into Rem. I was laughing.
Wow, that was lucky. Wow,
I willed it into existence.
Holy shit, yeah. I've pulled all tickets I had. Like, I had a couple of tickets saved up. I pulled all, I spent my energy pots to get all the tickets from the MK event, spent everything, and did a full lap. And all that gave me was one rainbow that wasn't the guaranteed one, which was Kimono Fina. And that's it. That's I think I did 70 or 80 pulls or something in total now.
See, Barrows, that is why you should save lapis. for the 25k step up.
Yeah, but I ran the 25k.
Oh,
That's my whole
dear.
point. Like, it was 25k plus like 20 or 30 more tickets.
Oh dear. Hey,
Yeah.
Barrows,
And
you want
a
to know what I
single
got
rainbow.
for my 25k?
Yeah, I know. I saw your screenshot. Jesus, that was a great 25k for you.
Wait, what did she get?
3 Ace and 1 Rem without using the select ticket.
Oh.
Man, it must be so hard being you, Cotton. Just being lucky
Yeah.
all the damn
Yeah,
time.
imagine having so much
See-
luck. You don't even know
see,
what
I
to do
would-
with it all.
I
She
would
doesn't have
have
to spend her
nostalgia
lapis.
for Rem, okay, if the game didn't give me 13 of her, okay? 13 original Rem. That's more than enough.
Well, that I think you're gonna get more.
I figured out why Cotton always has lapis and tickets is because she pulls units she wants super early.
Yeah, exactly. Cotton's like, oh, it's so easy to hoard when you pull everything on like your first pull.
Yeah, I mean, in reality, it only takes 2 tickets to get any 7-star you want.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Exactly.
TBH fam, it only takes 5k lapis to pull 11 rainbows.
Yes. But
There you go.
So I'm really hoping that we get DV rewards before Ace Banner is over. So I could also try the 30%. Because I only had a ticket of choice, and I was an idiot with that too, because I'm usually an idiot. And I actually spent it already. So I selected Ace, but that was just dumb, I realized. Why did I do that? I should have waited to see if I get anything, on banner random.
Is your name Cotton? You won't get anything.
Yeah. I'm kind of, I'm kind of hoping that, okay, after 80 pulls, I'm kind of due a rainbow soonish. Maybe. It is a pseudo-random generator, so it should fucking roll around to 100 soon. But who knows?
Barrows, it took me 150 tickets to get my first Awakened Warrior of Light. Sometimes the random number generator just hates you.
Yeah, but how many rainbows did you get while doing that, though?
Not many, actually.
18.
Ha ha ha, I wish.
Yeah, because like that's my point. Like at this point, I'm actually happy just getting a rainbow. Just seeing that rainbow crystal would be nice at this point. So, Muspel, you had something you want to say?
So the first unit on this banner is Benevolent Beauty Rem, and we're just going to call her Rem for the rest of the episode.
Wait, I thought-
Even though there's another unit named
Her
Rem.
name is way too long.
Baby
BB
Rem.
Baby Rem.
Baby Rem. Why Baby Rem?
Well,
Benevolent Beauty
Benevolent
Rem. Oh,
Beauty,
BB
yeah.
Rem. Ah, yeah, okay.
Hey, Bibi.
Hey, baby.
I think when we talk about this like Type 0 unit as a whole, there's an issue that persists not just with this, but like specifically with Type 0. It's that this and the old units look way too much alike, especially Rem for me at least. Like
That's
at a
actually
glance,
true.
this Rem and the old Rem look way
Yeah,
too
like
similar.
it's actually hard finding them in your unit list because you're looking and you're like, oh yeah, that's my 13 aces, and then there's this other ace that's just like another ace. I don't know.
Yeah.
I was
But
actually
it is
thinking,
true.
like, in like some alternate timeline, it would be believable that these would be the Brave Shift sprites for original Ace and Rem and Machina.
Yes, 100%. At least Machina looks okay. So I'm gonna say original Machina sprite looks better. What do you guys think?
Agreed.
Yeah,
Holding his sword
there's
like that
something
just
weird.
looks so-
I think it's because like how the way his head kind of retreats into his collar and he doesn't have a neck.
Yeah.
To me, that's what makes it look weird.
I just think the old Machina sprite is his like classic Machina stance. So it's instantly recognizable from the game. But this is less so. Like
He's
this
too
is
chill.
More
you
like
know? Like
okay,
he's not ready to fight anyone. Like he's not ready to fuck shit up. Original Machina, he's like ready to fuck shit up. But no,
It's like, come at me.
and original Machina, you look at it and he's a jerk. But this one, he doesn't look like a jerk. So.
yeah,
It's just a
true, true.
homeless guy.
And Shadow is saying that because Machina is a jerk in the actual game.
Yeah,
I'm
He's-
still stuck
from
on
what I've read.
your neck stuck in his neck comment. Is this one of
No, but
those?
he's 100% true. Like,
Is that one of those like I'm in this tweet and I don't like it kind of thing?
no, but I actually had to look at the sprite again after he said it, and like it's 100% true. Like he has zero neck.
Like one of the things about all of them is that their sprites are great. I'm not saying they're bad. They're very good representations of the
Yeah.
original game. It's just Rem has a specific issue in that she is almost identical in pose and in her looks. Like Ace and Machina, they technically have different poses, so you can tell. The other big one was Tidus. I remember CG Tidus and old Tidus looked very similar.
100%. Yeah.
I also had to do double takes on Squall when doing his MK recently to make sure it was the new one and not the old one.
To me, it was easy because I had burned in the sprite's vision into my memory, so I know he holds his sword in a different way. I do agree.
You have his picture as a shrine in your room.
Yes, like above my bed.
A shrine? A shrine is the wrong word, Hazard. It's a pinup.
Yeah, and when people ask about all the like crusted up white stuff around the shrine, I just say that's the
oh my gosh.
What do you say? Like the leftover of candles, right? The
wax.
The wax. Yes.
The wax.
So if you have candles,
why must
it
be a
becomes a
corrupted
shrine.
mass spell?
It's just that the candles are never there because I remove the candles, but you just see the wax.
Right, it's that picture of me and my friends enjoying a night on the town, and they're all just out of the screenshot.
Yes.
AKA I'm by myself doing nothing.
Yes. But yeah, they should have done something more to like differentiate these units from their OG sprites in some way. Because, I don't know. Many of them are similar.
One thing I did notice when just on a random run of the Mod King when I had like old Rem in my team and new Rem, I noticed that new Rem's hair color like matches a lot better from her actual Type 0 appearance.
How the fuck would you know? You didn't even play the game.
I read the wiki, okay? I like the story.
You're not gonna live this down.
But you're not wrong though, because original Rem has like almost a grayish hair, right? Or some
well,
like really
it's
weird.
a lot more blonde. Yeah. It's a lot more blonde.
A blonde, okay, yeah. Mm-mm. Also,
like especially when she goes into her light C form, so it's like.
The major difference between the sprites is that Rem has her daggers facing a different way, basically. Also, she's not pigeon-toed.
Yeah, exactly. She's not pigeon. That's what I was gonna say. Like, she has a less cute foot stance in her new sprite.
She took a step forward.
Yeah.
But they do actually have pretty interesting kits as well. They've been much talked about in the lead up to this banner.
To the point where I'm so sick of it, I almost don't want to talk about it. Like, I was excited that Dream was excited to pull on this banner, but the rest of you, shame on you. Shame on you, DV Metaslave.
You know what? I hate myself already, so it's okay.
But Hazard, you have to realize last DV I didn't even finish Area 3. So I didn't pull for DV. I pulled specifically for the nostalgia.
I'm going to be honest.
Of DV on the last day.
I'm proud of you, Shadow. I'm kind of proud of you, Dream.
So I'm going to be honest. I pulled for DV, but not for the reason that Muspel and Cotton pulled, because I don't care about DV anymore. I do want to finish it though. And I definitely saw
the convenience of using them for every stage.
Exactly. I just want to have like a magic team where I have an Ace and Rem set up, and I can just load it into every fucking stage and just destroy it. That's what I want.
That's the best part about this, because you could just change their killers.
That's what you guys should have told me. I would have pulled if you told me that.
And the reason why that works, which we should probably mention, is because Ace and Rem are magic damage dealers. They have physical attacks with magic damage, which means that they can use imbues or elemental weapons, although you're typically not going to do that.
And physical killers, which is super big because...
Yes, and physical killers.
For some races.
Yeah, for other races, magic killers might be better, yeah.
But really, like, isn't it like at the point where for some races it's just as good? But I'm especially thinking if you also have Zon and you're copying buffs, because like it feels like it's always much easier to find physical buff copying.
There's definitely some that it's close, and for Zon, I think physical definitely does win. But like certain races have like 125 magic killer from an Esper and only 75 physical. And then there's also the, 3 trial rods that have 75% magic killers on them.
So, nerds, explain to me how this works with their kits, because they do physical damage or physical type with magic damage. So, how do you use magic killers sometimes and physical killers sometimes?
You don't use magic killers. I think they were saying that
an
actual mage would be better against certain enemy types.
Okay. I was confused. I was I thought they could only use physical killers.
Yes, they can only use physical killers.
I mean,
which can be a bit confusing, but since a physical killer actually says increases physical damage, but they do magic damage. It's just that their attack is physical type.
Notably, this means that the killer rods from some of the trials won't really do much for them. Like, the high mage might be useful, but...
Yeah, and that's a big drawback because it's the same drawback that Ellie has, because they can't actually equip, or they can equip some of the killer weapons, but you don't want to because you're losing so much magic stat out of it, so that you're better off like not getting that killer, unfortunately.
But you can generally make up for it with the higher killers from Espers. And they also have innate killers for demons and machines, which is great.
But on the flip side, I guess, if you have Quistis SCMR or maybe another Magic 2 dual SCMR, like Ace and Rem kept their magic really easy, so they have a few spare slots for this to slot in physical killer materials. So it's not that much of a drawback for them, I guess, than for Ellie, who wants to build for limit break damage as well.
I was going to say, really, it just means you don't have to feel bad about equipping Dark Gumbatian on them.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Well, that's for Ellie. So, like, the dream team of DV, obviously, is going to be Ace and Rem, finished by Ellie. Okay. Oof. Oh, wait. Let me just think of this a while.
Rem deals more damage.
Yeah. So Ace and Rem finished by Ellie.
So wait a minute.
Yes.
Okay. Moving on to something more important.
For the record,
so
Rem does more damage than Ellie.
I don't think that's what Barris was talking about, unfortunately.
No, all right, so I have Rem now. Okay. Who would I pair her with if I don't have Ace?
For a trial or
Ace?
for DV?
For
Redacted.
DV.
For
Redacted,
DV,
yeah.
I would
redacted.
use her as a finisher.
Redacted.
Redacted.
Using her, like, Seraphim Strike move or whatever?
Seraphim Strike and Flying Daggers, yeah.
Probably more her Limit Burst because it's fewer hits. Like, yeah, as a finisher, I think you'd probably want to do her Limit Burst.
I checked. The Limit Burst
Yeah.
build does noticeably less damage. The other moves are fine though because they're single target. They won't cancel.
Yeah.
See, that's the best thing about both of these is that they, so both of these and Ace and Rem is that they're very similar in that they have Bolting Strike and CWA chains, but both Bolting Strike moves are single target. So if you do use them as chainers in DV, they won't break and lose like half their damage. Because
Mind you, Ace does have more viable LB damage that's AoE, so he can be good for the AoE stages. And because it's an LB and it's single cast, you don't have to worry about canceling there.
Yeah, although like it's still 72, and they have like what 50% LB damage increase passively, right? Something like that.
Yeah.
Both
Yeah,
of them.
I think you need a lot of STMRs to make his LB build good.
Yeah, you really
I was
need,
calculating with my gear, Rem was the strongest when I compared Ellie and Ace and Rem and I think Selfie and Schwen as well. Rem won out, but not by a huge amount. Ace and Ellie were generally in second place.
Yeah, and let's just put it this way. Like, let's say you're bursting on turn 4, right? And you're thinking about using their LB or not. So Ace's LB is 72x mod with a 50% passive increase, right? But his actual, just one of his abilities on turn 4 does 70x on its own. And then you're going to add like 2 more that do like 60.
265s.
Yeah. So you're definitely better off just chaining him. And yeah, go ahead, Drew.
I was going to say, during maintenance, I was just doing some sort of napkin maths on it, and I was thinking that both of them would probably need about 200% total limit damage increase without losing too much magic to get their limit burst to be stronger than just their max chain turns.
Yeah.
And like that can maybe include an external limit damage buff, like Poppy's going to be really good for that. But yeah, if you can stack up their chain and like have a partner for it rather than trying to fit it into other chains, then a lot of the time just stacking up their regular chains are going to be a better option than their limit bursts.
I'm actually kind of excited at the prospect. So Elena and Malphasi both have Bolting Strike frames that, and they're hybrid, obviously.
Malf is element locked though, but Elena is definitely great.
Malphasi has a non-elemental now since her rework. It's a non-elemental.
Oh, she does.
Yeah.
Yeah, for bolting strike.
That's correct.
Oh.
So
I think her AR is element locked.
yes, her AR is element locked, but her bolting strike is not. It's non-elemental.
But she doesn't have triple cast, right?
Yeah, I was
Correct,
about to
but
say
her
that. Yeah.
enhancements, her and Elena are due for enhancements right around this time. So I'm wondering if we might get those. I know, but
We're quite behind on enhancements
I know
right now.
they're like, let's release 20 units a month and enhance one.
I'm gonna call it. I'm gonna call it right now. Malphasy will get trash enhancements because she was previously good, and damage dealers that used to be good do not get good enhancements.
Was she really previously good though?
She was never really great though. She was always like decent.
Well, let me clarify. People pulled for her.
That's because her STMR.
But that's because she has an awesome sprite.
Yeah, she has the best sprite in the game.
Yeah, but Gumi doesn't want people to get double their value for damage dealers.
Ah, okay.
I mean, that's why Axe does enhancements.
Hold on, friend.
Pulled on his banner even if it wasn't for him.
Wait a minute.
Well, people pulled on Axstar's banner. They weren't pulling for
Xeno.
Axstar.
I think some people are pulling
I guess
Draxar
maybe
too.
some people were. He does have a cool CG.
Yeah, he does. He has an
All right.
immensely cool CG. So wait, I just
Speaking-
want to follow up on the thing we talked about previously about the like who to pair them with, because like if you're using Zon, I think, and you only have a single of these units because you're not fucking Cotton. Fuck you, Cotton. If you're not Cotton, then you actually should just pair them with Zon. Because Zon can, on the finishing turn, chain triple bolting strike and be an excellent chain partner for any of these units, because they are literally the same. Otherwise, I plan on pairing mine with Wizardess Toto.
No, but there is one thing though. Like if you are using Ace and Rem or Ace and or whatever pair to chain, you do need another 2 units at least to increase the chain count so that you actually hit the chain count cap. So that's
But you do the smart thing that I was taught by one of our listeners in the Discord. So listeners, please join our Discord. We have a lot of interesting discussions every day. Like yesterday, we were talking about how to ass fuck boats. So feel free to join.
Wait,
Also-
when did this happen? Because I have to moderate
I
this
don't
channel
think
and I
it
missed
did.
it.
No, it 100% did. Like if you just scroll up, like you search
Oh,
from
God.
Barrows
I'm gonna have to ban
and then ass fuck, and then you're gonna find it. I promise.
Anyway.
I was saying
Yikes.
about the tip. So the tip is do your chain, because the chain count doesn't count for the highest turn, it's the highest chain count of any turns, right? So you can actually do 100% chains on the turn before you burst. That has saved me so much time in DV, like
Oh, I need to start
so
doing
much
that.
time.
I thought that was just common
I did-
knowledge.
Yeah, I thought that
I
was
did not
common
know.
knowledge.
I'm
I
gonna
did
be
that
honest.
a few
I had
times.
no idea.
I never knew either.
Just do like a random AR at one turn, do barely any damage, and then
Yeah.
burst
I
in real
knew- I
time.
hadn't taken advantage of it because on previous DVs we had the turn penalty, and I was usually killing on turn 1.
Yeah, that's true. I never focused on it because of that, I'm gonna say. But the tip is fantastic because, like, if you have 2 AR chain, like, you don't even have to have 2 AR chainers because most of the times you actually have people in your team where everyone can chain, and usually it's just enough for everyone to chain on a single turn, and you get 100, and then you just do your normal burst stuff.
I think by this point we're talking about Ace and Rem at the same time because they're very similar units. But one thing about Ace that is I think really clutch in terms of his kit, and it really boggles my mind what Aelin were thinking, is that he has a Nethicite AoE. What's the negate damage? What's
Mirage.
Mirage?
that just slipped my mind?
Mirage.
Absorb a spell.
Mirage, yes, AoE Mirage.
Yeah.
Oh.
And he has misdirection, which increases chance of being targeted 100% for one ally. So he can give provoke to one ally for one turn.
Be like, hey, you
All
hit
of
that
these-
guy.
And wait,
Yeah, and he has 40% innate
Exactly.
dodge. So his kit is made for. I feel like they were like, okay, what's the most
I will
optimal
say-
DV unit?
I don't think
This was
the
it.
dodge is very useful. For physical chainers, it can be, because physical chainers have access to stuff like Colorful Lay, which lets them reach 100% dodge without losing a whole lot of damage. Mages don't have anything like that. If you want to get Ace to 100% evasion, it's going to cripple his damage.
so
I mean,
colorful
not
lay.
necessarily,
That's when
no.
What it's useful for is Behemoth, obviously.
Yeah, exactly. I know a lot of people are looking forward to using him for that.
For Behemoth, I think you're just going to use a physical chainer with innate evasion instead, and you would do way more damage than Ace, because Ace is going to
Oh, I'm
lose
absolutely
No.
using
so
Ace.
much magic.
Yeah, they're not necessarily like. I think the only one who has a lot of evasion easily right now is Safer, and his damage isn't that.
Rico.
And
Zidane
Bradley.
as well.
But then Rico won't do that well in the long fight, like because once it runs out of Magnus, his damage tanks.
No, his mag damage doesn't tank that hard as people keep bringing out.
Bradley.
But, I'll definitely be using Ace for Behemoth because I did like a test build for 100% evasion, and I think I used Ring of the Lucy and like the two 20% materias, Dodge Roll and Runaway, and I could still get him to like 3200 magic, 225% average killer after his buff, and 100% evasion, and I was like, damn, that's a good build. So I think he can actually like get it without losing too much.
Pretty
He
sure that's how
also-
Sinzar beat Behemoth the first time.
He also can get to the point that he has AoE re-raise. I think this is not actually super
Yeah, that's
useful. It requires multiple turns of setup. The re-raise only lasts one turn, and if he dies, the unlock will go away, and he's the one probably most likely to die. So I think if you need like 3 or 4 turns of setup to get 1 turn of AoE re-raise, and then you need to go through the setup again. If he
No, you
dies,
actually
then
don't.
That's not great.
I mean,
You have the cooldown technically after turn 7. You have the cooldown that unlocks the highest
That's
version of
true,
each
but-
ability.
Yeah, I think the re-raise isn't that major, but his chaining,
MP,
his chaining Mirage
HP.
and MP Restore are both really nice utilities. And just speaking of Rem's utility as well, she's got her Live On, which can do like an actual strong AoE re-raise, 50% gen mit, and a strong regen. And with 2 of them alternating it every second turn, then you can keep it up 100% of the time.
Yeah.
So that's really
That
nice.
region's pretty nice too.
It's going to be what, about 6,000 or 7,000 a turn. I mean that's not crazy strong. It's good, but
Yeah, it's around Aiden levels of healing.
I think the mitigation is probably the biggest thing there.
yeah, it's good.
Yeah,
Because a lot of tanks can't get that mitigation up on turn 1, or they have other
Yeah,
things
it's
they're
especially
working on.
nice as an opener when you've got a magic cover tank, because a lot of the physical covers can physical cover plus mitigate with cooldowns.
Yeah,
But
Yeah.
magic covers usually need their limit burst.
I'm currently using
Also-
Luna Freya to give me 30% because I don't have Charlotte's up yet.
I don't think we've talked about their suicide cooldowns yet, have we?
No.
They both have cooldowns that kill themselves, but also fill the Esper gauge completely and fill the LB gauge by 40 for all allies, which for most units is going to completely fill their LB gauge.
So, Madam users, take fucking notes.
Well, the main problem is that I think the biggest use for an LB fill like this is Dark Visions, but in Dark Visions, killing themselves is going to penalize your score.
You can't kill yourself.
No,
Sorry, what?
this is fine actually, right? Oh no, it's a KO. Oh shit,
Wait.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
a KO.
Yeah. Self-damage doesn't
Yeah.
penalize you, but
No.
self-KOs do.
But I mean, you can just run a normal trial with 2 madams and just keep re-raise up on one of them and keep killing them every turn. And
It's
like
a cooldown,
with,
It has a
Baros.
cooldown.
Re-raise. Yeah, it's a cooldown.
Oh shit, it's a cooldown. Oh my
6
bad.
turn.
My bad.
Yeah.
No.
Plus, you have to full revive with it because it dispels before death, so you can't re-raise.
Yeah.
Oh.
Both of them are really just they have a lot of utility and damage in their kit, which is really just
Yeah,
I love it.
Did
Yeah.
we ever mention the fact that they are the 2 strongest mages in the game right now, like by a head and
Yeah.
shoulders, and are probably like beating most of the physical chainers as well.
On the wiki spreadsheet, at least, they're beating all of the physical chainers. Now, in practice, the physical chainers might win by a little bit, just because they have access to killer weapons, and these guys don't. But with their utility, I think it's safe to say that these are probably the best damage dealers in the game right now. Not by a huge margin. I wouldn't pull for them unless you care about DV. If you already have a good damage dealer, this is another banner you can skip. But if you care about DV, or if you're willing to put some money into the game and you want an upgrade, you could do a lot worse.
Or you think they're cool.
Or that.
nostalgia bait.
So Cotton, what did you want to say?
I mean, and contrary to popular belief, like the global exclusive buffs for Ace really benefited him a lot, because both Ace and Rem now do comparable damage. Like Ace has a higher mods and higher magic stat, while Rem has the 6 times change cap but a lower base stats. So and they balance each other out, and both actually do almost the same damage.
Yeah, they're very similar. Ace can get a little higher with Whale Gear, but they're both really awesome. I really like Rem's couple of Rem's support abilities. Her heal actually has an increased modifier boost to it, and she also has a really cool cure all status ailments and dispel all allies, which can be helpful. And it's not on a cooldown, and you can triple cast, I believe.
So
The last thing about Ace that I wanted to say before I got interrupted was he has an auto MP regen at the start of your turn. So if you have 2 aces in any trials and they MP sap you, you're guaranteed at least 20 MP at the start of the turn, which sometimes might be enough for your healer to do an AoE MP heal or something.
Oh, interesting.
So I think that's really clutch.
So
you know what's worst about Ace? Oh, sorry.
Actually,
wanna
if you,
it's an autocast.
No, actually, on that note, going on with what Shadow said, if you have like his final stage MP regen, MP charge chain up, 2 aces, both with their autocast, you can get like what? 180 MP autocast at the start of your turn. You don't need an MP battery with that.
Yeah, the worst thing about him is definitely the autocast for both of them. But
No. The worst thing about Ace is that he doesn't want to equip fucking old Ace's STMR. I've never used that shit. Can someone tell me what the fuck I need 2 of those for? Jesus.
I mean, Varus, it has Trump in the name. Of course it's bad.
Oh no.
NA jokes.
Too much?
So
We lost all the Republican
let's
listeners.
quickly move on to the third person on the banner, which is Machina, and he is actually just as useful, like a really incredible value on this banner, honestly. And this one is for free. He's a free breaker, but he also has some great support chaining and perils. He has typed mitigations. He's really, really good for a free unit. Maybe the best one he ever got.
Absolutely.
He has a.
He also
I
provides
want to
100
say everyone that plans on doing the Behemoth trial should 100% make sure they get Machina and his 7-star. And we can talk about that later, I guess, why. But I just want to get that out there.
He also has what was I about to say? He also has 150% stat buffs for the party.
That's true.
And general mit.
The same suicide limit fill as well.
Yeah.
He doesn't have any general mit for the party, does he?
No, just typed mid.
No.
He can't
Just
do
like
everything.
OG
Dream.
Party.
I also want to mention both his
did.
his TM and STMR are pretty good. The TM less so. It's a sword with innate dual wield, which is not going to be super useful. You might use it on a Dragoon, I guess, because some of them want dual wield but don't have it.
I mean, it's great
It
for
has
Sid.
it has a lot of attack for a TMR as well.
It is great for Sid, but Sid isn't the powerhouse he used to be, because the more recent finishers are really showing him up.
He is my best one. He's
Like
my
I said,
second
he's not as
finisher.
good as he used to be.
To be fair, Marcel, Sid is the
One
only
thing-
dragoon that you can UOC from scratch. The rest of the dragoons, you need to actually have to luck out on a copy from the gacha.
Or you could buy the bundle and get Fang.
Oh.
Yeah, but who would
Get
spend?
Fang from the bundle, though.
Who
You
would
have
spend-
to use...
Damn you and your money.
All right, but who
And
would
Fang,
be
you
silly
still
enough?
like Fang...
Dang it.
Sorry, go ahead, Hazard.
Fourth time. Who would be silly enough though to spend 18 UOCs on a unit like that?
I spent 8, okay? I had a seed. I had 1 seed. I just used 8 for a 7-star. And it helped
I'm
me the
talking
first
about
DV,
Regina.
okay?
How much did you spend? Yeah.
Anyways, his
No
STMR
regrets, Kaiser,
also
no
is-
regrets.
Anyway,
Choo-choo.
his STMR is great. It's clothes with 33 flat attack, which is already great, and then also 50% attack if you're using a sword, that's almost as good as Fate's STMR. And granted,
Yeah, I was
Fate's
gonna say.
STMR isn't one of the best, but it's still a very good one. So having a free version that's almost as good is fantastic.
I think this one has more bulk to it than Fate.
That's true. It's not a
bit.
huge deal, but it does have more bulk.
So you could argue that in practical terms, it might help you more than the 2 attack difference from Fates, I think.
I think it's
So-
5.
I think Fates has also like some light resistance.
I thought this would be a big Muspel bait because Muspel is so huge on defensive stats and like being able to cap your attack a lot easier because there's so many sword users, right? I think that would be a big benefit to having all those killer slots available or bulk slots.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
And he's a breaker, and we haven't even talked about his breaking part yet. And
That's true.
he one of his best breaking abilities is actually like his Enfeeblement Drive. It's because it removes all status effects from one enemy and then it breaks on the same move. And then you can W cast this, so you have another like action to do right afterwards.
It's
which is
basically
great.
like what Beowulf's should have been.
Yeah, it's his weaker breaks though, like it's 70 instead of 75, but it's still incredibly useful for actually dispelling and breaking in the same action.
Another thing to note
Yeah.
is that Stunning Slash applies 2 breaks. One of them is 75%, one of them is 70%. And this is going to be useful for Behemoth, because Behemoth has RNG break resistance.
Oh yeah.
So-
Fun.
You ideally, when you're fighting Behemoth, you want a unit that can break multiple times in the same turn. And if you dual cast that skill, that is 4 attack/magic breaks in one turn, which means that you have a very high chance of sticking both the attack and the magic break.
Global wins again.
Exactly.
Suck
Honestly,
it.
like I wasn't even thinking about the fact that there's 2 breaks when just because like he has double and triple cast and can easily like spam his strong breaks. I was thinking that was enough to make him good for Behemoth.
And Behemoth
probably
also
my best choice.
Yeah, and Behemoth also needs to be dispelled. So technically what you want to
Yeah.
do is you want to start with Enfeeblement Drive to get that dispel in and the first attempt at breaking, and then you get Stunning Slash in for the backup. And the good thing about that is also that the Enfeeblement Drive also has an auto cast next turn that also tries to break.
Yep.
So if you're lucky next turn, you might already break Behemoth and you could do something else with Machina. So it's super nice. He's going to be a key unit to make that fight a lot easier.
Have I
If you don't
mentioned?
have Varm.
Have I mentioned how cancerous RNG break resistant is?
And nobody has.
Sorry,
Sorry, Carl, what were you saying?
Why would Arlene bring back RNG break resistance? Like, we remember the Ifrit trial, the Ifrit one, where it went from all the way back.
Because FFBE is a game created without thought.
Yeah. I mean, it's
I can't believe that's still true today.
Must tell the
Even more
kind of
true.
like, I know why though. They're running out of ideas on how to make trials hard, and we've talked about this many times. It's because game mechanics have made it hard to make trials hard.
I can probably give you what the real reason is. I think the problem is that they want to make older breakers worse, or they want to make it so that you have to pull for new breakers, but they don't want to make breaks have larger magnitudes by that much. So their solution is to make it so that old breakers don't work by giving bosses break resistance, and then they give the new breakers multicast. So these new breakers can spam their breaks, and now they work on the new fights, and the older breakers aren't necessarily viable options.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Well,
Yeah.
sure, but like then you still
I
have
agree.
old Machina that can still apply double breaks on a single turn anyway. So he could still he's still
but,
good.
But his are weaker.
No,
I
they
think
are
that's
also
a
75.
sort of a unique. That's sort of a unique side effect
Right.
of like the decaying breaks, I think. But in general, like other than like Riku and Vanille, I think or Vanille, a lot of older breakers will suffer against Behemoth because of that break resist.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
they can only really
Mm.
do one
Like
attempt
I would
for.
not want to do Behemoth with Fid.
Exactly. Yeah, that would be a
Oh,
nightmare.
gross. Oh,
Kryla
gross.
would also
Or even Kryla.
some problems. Probably pretty bad ones, to be honest.
Yeah, like Locke is really good because you can at least double cast or triple cast his break, so that's always something.
No, but then Locke's breaks are on the weaker side. You want to do both attack and magic
Yeah,
at the
only
same time.
65%, I think.
He does have 70%. So once, like, if you can dispel and then stick the 70% ones, maybe that's not too
But the
bad.
70% ones are for one stat though, right? So you're gonna have to do 2 of them just to break both stats in a single turn.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
do you
that's the
have to
same as
dispel
Kryla.
Behemoth every turn, or is it just sometimes?
I don't know actually. I'm not an
I think
expert.
it's-
You know why we're not experts? Because we don't have it. It's not in global, and we shouldn't
Good
be talking
point.
about
Good
it.
point.
we-
Good point.
We'll have a lot more to talk about when it does
Yeah.
release, which
Yeah.
is hopefully soon.
And a
because
lot
I
more-
think it's quite an interesting.
All trials have
And a
been
lot more
cancelled. All
complaining,
SPVs have been
actually.
cancelled. All latents have been cancelled. All enhancements have been cancelled. Anniversary's been cancelled. You've been cancelled. Yes, you.
Has the podcast been cancelled?
The podcast
No.
is still running, unfortunately.
Not yet, but it's close.
What do you think will end first, us or the game?
Me for sure. Me for sure.
Yeah, definitely us.
I mean, I like this game a lot, but holy crap, I think it's going to go on way longer than it should.
You think so? Like, I am kind of feeling that.
You really
mean,
think they're
okay,
going to go out on like a Seinfeld run? Where
No,
Seinfeld
no,
goes
no,
out
no,
at the top of their game?
No, I think they're definitely going to make FFBE 2, like, in some way or another. But I'm kind of feeling that that point is approaching quickly, right? Because, like, they're running out of power levels. They're running, like, we have too many enhancement types already. It's kind of time for a clean break-ish. I would welcome that, though, to be honest. Like, I would welcome an FFBE 2.
Isn't War of the Visions FFBE 2?
Would you though?
No, not even close.
It's a spin-off.
Take that out of your fucking mouth. Jesus, don't say that again.
Right.
I hate the gacha system in War of the Visions.
You can't
I'm
end
gonna say it again.
FFBE until you finish off the last CG protagonist, which is Ramza. Please release him, cowards.
Yeah. Maybe that's how they end the game. They like release CG Ramza, no new trials, and then they say the game ends next week.
No, what they're going to do is they're going to release Gabrant and then shut down the game.
Or that.
So,
or
and
that.
Gabrand?
We get Gabrant, and they JP has to get Zargaboth.
Simultaneous release.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's the only way this ends.
But we get them in their original states. They're not.
Oh god. Stop giving them ideas, people. Like, no. Justin knows the podcast exists. Like, don't give him ideas.
He does, and he said he's coming on the podcast soon. So
yeah, Justin, step the fuck up.
Soon TM.
I've
like
also
it'll only be 2 years.
We would love to have more guests. If you guys want to make suggestions or harass people into coming on the podcast, we fully endorse that. And
Hear that,
there are some people that
harass Natza. Get Natza to come on the podcast. Harass him. You can do it.
Well, I've also had some other people that we've gotten suggested, and some of them have kind of busy schedules and haven't been able to come on yet, but they do want to. So
yeah, most of them just don't like us.
That's true.
Basically, we're working on it, but also disorganized.
We're gonna blame COVID.
We've got some fun ideas in the works.
We blame
Why
COVID,
not?
so we might have to. We'll have a live session a month and a half from now where we will announce what we're going to have as a guest for some future podcast. How about that?
I like how everybody except Hazard is just now learning about this.
We have to split our retrospective topic over 3 months.
That's true. So last week we discussed a retrospective on the early part of the game, which I was not here for. I joined on right after the Orlando banner was done, actually. So the Fryavia banner was my first banner. And
shame on you, Hazard. How dare you skip a Final Fantasy Tactics banner?
I had no idea the
on
game
you.
existed until April of 2017, to be quite honest. But
too late.
I avoided a lot of the early nonsense like Blizzaga chains and pulling 5-star random units that sucked. And but we're gonna do our retrospective part 2 tonight. We may have a part 3 just to mirror the anniversary.
Perfect.
But we won't give you any details on it whatsoever. But we hear you. Just know that we hear you.
Yeah, we do hear you all the time.
We're not listening, but we hear you.
We hear you, but in a much more real way. We don't care.
Yeah.
Anyway, where do we
left off?
I think last time we left off like at the right before the 5-star meta.
Right before the 5-star meta.
Sorry.
One would be the 7-star. Yeah. So the first
a bit
7-star. Well, before
because one thing that I was getting prepared to talk about when we ended last time was the introduction of step-ups was a really big thing.
Mm-hmm.
You guys remember how mad people were about the Final Fantasy 7 one?
There was a lot of drama around the very first step-up of Sephiroth and Lila.
Yes.
Because JP, when they first trialed it, they overdid it a bit, and there was something crazy like 1.5 times rainbow rate step 2, double rainbow rate step 3, triple on step 4, and times 5 on step 5 or something.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
It was just, it rained rainbows, and obviously they never did it again because it was a mistake. But everyone in GL was obviously they have to do the mistake for us as well.
Not only did they never do it again, but I think the director and JP said it was a mistake.
Yeah.
And so
I know.
everybody
Or-
in GL who had two brain cells rubbed together knew this was not coming, because even in JP, they saw it as a mistake that they never repeated. But some people, who I will charitably call idiots, believed that it was coming and could not be convinced otherwise, and threw a giant fit when we didn't get it in GL.
Yeah, I remember that. Also, as a tangent or very connected to this, I am a bit shocked that a company that works with gambling doesn't have models in place to calculate the revenue on like how they do a banner bonus split, right?
Listen,
That's scary.
Baros, they can't even calculate the amount of damage that Beatrix would do given certain enhancements.
No, but I'm fine with that. I'm fine with them being ignorant about game design or not even caring. Like hey, they might not even care. But like this is their business model. Like knowing what rates you can and cannot put on a banner. That's like at least some dude has to have like a spreadsheet or something. I mean, I've worked in the gambling industry before, gaming industry, and this is like the holiest of holy. Knowing the odds and yeah, I don't know. I was a bit scared when that happened, to be honest.
I feel like we overestimate how nice, I guess, these game developers work in an environment in terms of a corporate structure and work environment. The gaming industry is notorious for being all crunch and not a lot of pay. So I don't expect the corporate side, the side that's doing all the finances, to be well thought out, to have models and a lot of data scientists behind them to tell, okay, what's the perfect rate where people will spend versus people won't spend. So, but yeah, I guess you could say we can expect better from Alem.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, they've been in the game for a while. I mean, actually, technically, Alem did that mistake, right?
Yeah,
Okay. So no, I actually take that back. I can see Alem doing that, but I would have expected Gumi to not do it, and Gumi didn't do it. So that's actually fine. That's actually true. I forgot that.
If we go back to that whole step up thing, then after the 25k, there was a period when Gumi tried all different manners of step ups: 11k, 15k. I think at one point we had a 10k
12K.
that was just
The
2
12K
laps.
was my favorite one, to be honest, with the
There's
5
a
times rates
12K
on the
with
end of it.
guarantee. 12K with guarantee or something.
But there
They
was
had
no
a guaranteed
guarantee.
rainbow, just wasn't the guaranteed rainbow you wanted necessarily.
Yeah.
Because the initial JP iteration was 25k on split banner, and then I think a random banner rainbow on step 5 and a random normal rainbow step 3. So that's stuck around. And then they had 11k for solo banners that just had double rates on the first step and 5 times rates on the second step, but no guaranteed rainbow.
That was usually for
And
the
then-
story event CG units, I believe.
Yeah, the story events. And then GL, after a few, changed those to the 12k ones that actually were slightly more expensive, but had the guaranteed rainbow on step 5, and that was a really nice global exclusive change. It made...
I want to say it started on the Charlotte banner.
It was
Really?
either Charlotte or I want maybe Sid.
Because I remember I got
think-
2
Sid.
Charlottes from that right off the bat.
It was the Sid banner that started the lower Lapis step up, but I feel like it started to stick.
Yeah, maybe he was the first 11k.
We had one for Eurisha. We had an 11k for Eurisha and Carlette, if you guys remember. I got 3 Carlette off that. It was brilliant.
There was an 11k for Eurisha
And
too.
that was back when Hazard used to shitter.
But I
on
mean,
his boots.
this was the scientific approach.
I remember, so this is a bit going ahead of myself, but there was a point when Crown Prince Noctis came out and the Black Friday units came out. There was a
that was the
two-step
worst.
step up. I think it was and people hated that. And I think ever since then they just scrapped it away, and we're stuck with this format: 25k and 12k, depending on what kind of banner we're. And I think we're at a stable point. If you want to spend 25k for the guarantee, go for the 25k. If you want to go YOLO and pray to every type of god out there, go 12k.
Yeah.
So it's
Or you already got a copy.
No, actually,
yeah.
I think that I still have issues with the way that they price Lapis. It is stupidly expensive to get Lapis in this game. But I think that the current structure of 25k and 12k is the best step-up structure we've ever had, and I'm glad that they've settled into it.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they've done this scientifically. They have tried different variants. They've collected the data on how we spend and how we use our lapis and figured out, hey, this is a really good model because, like, the safe people, they're going to go with the 25k, and the stupid people, like me and Rigoro, what's up, my man, are going to do the 12ks. Although I didn't this time, and I actually regret it heavily that I didn't do the 12k this time.
Cotton, you have something to say?
Actually, thinking about it, would the two-step banners be similar to the JP system, like where there's basically effectively no step ups and you pull each 5k for like summon
I
points
thought
in
the
a
way
sense to
JP
redeem?
started doing it, didn't they just start giving away the prisms, but you just had to pull the unit from regular 5k pulls?
Really? Oh, yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
I think in this sort of phase that like the time area that we're sort of currently in, for a while JP was doing like a ticket for every 5k pull you do, and then like 1 ticket for a banner prism, 10 tickets for a random banner unit, and 30 for a choice banner unit, which those last two are crap.
Insane.
And at the start they didn't.
Horrifying.
At the start they didn't have the prism either, which was really
Honestly,
horrible.
why
Did they
does
stop
anyone
doing
play
prisms
JP?
after a while?
They have the worst crap. Like Alan has no idea. They're just like throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks. I actually really liked the last banner we just had, the Ketone and Stern banner, which I ended up pulling on. They had the 25k guarantee, and they also had the 12k, but you got the coins, and you could get 40 for the prism and 80 for the actual unit that you wanted. So 24k for the unit, and I ended up getting really nice stuff with it. So I like that model.
That model's been around, I think, since for a while now, and I really like it. And I almost sometimes tell people that, like, if you're okay with a little bit of risk, the 12k is probably a better value for your money than 25k is. And that's purely because you at the end of the 12k, you're still guaranteed a prism, which means you only need one more copy in the future. So, yeah.
So moving on from step ups, the next thing that we want to talk about in the retrospective is just kind of 6-star units that don't feel like they belonged in the 6-star meta, ones that were just far, far too powerful for the era that they lived in. So the main 2 examples of this, I think, are Tillith and Ayaka as the first healers that could really fully heal your team every single turn.
And re-raise in the case of Ayaka
It's
as well.
more Ayaka
Yeah.
than Tilith, I guess.
Ayaka more so, but Tillith came significantly earlier.
Yeah.
Tillith is more like she was better than most 5-star bases at the time.
But she was better than all
to
5-star
be
bases.
To be fair,
And harder to get
yeah,
than most of
she
them
was
as well.
that's another story, but her rates were awful.
Oh boy.
I actually think there's a dark horse candidate here as well. Yan was really, really good. She was almost better than a lot of rainbows for her time. It was kind of like a precursor to like a Sylvie type unit.
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from. Yeah.
Yan was good.
Yeah.
I think she was mostly just a moderate upgrade from Riku.
Yeah, well, she had the all element and re-raise LB, and she had mitigation and healing and MP restore and some imperils.
Riku had all of those things. It's just that hers were clunkier to access because they were stuck behind unlocks and stuff.
Correct.
I think Yan was really good as like a 4-star in a 5-star base era, but not necessarily like someone that belonged in a 7-star era or like a close to 7-star era.
Agree with that. I just thought she was someone that.
But you had
really
another
stood out
candidate too,
in
Hazard,
that
right?
era.
That you thought was really good.
Yeah, so right at the end of the 6-star meta was Maritime Strategist Nickel, and he could do some really amazing things. The multicast that he could do made him basically invaluable for any team comp. And he was really, really good, even far into the 7-star meta, I would say. So I think he was kind of a precursor.
I mean, the 50% mitigation.
Right. You're exactly right. I think he was kind of a precursor to the power spike we were about to see.
I mean, the 50% mitigation is still the meta. That's still what you're gonna give your team. So
he did not have that.
That was his early 7-star.
He did.
But even when he was 6-star, like he was, I think he was the first really good buffer that wasn't locked into singing. And then he had still did like all of what they could do, and then had other turns for things like his element resists, MP restore was really good back then, and also the 30% mitigation was still very solid at that point.
Yeah, no, my point about 50 is that kind of he's still relevant. That's kind of like, because he still has that.
Yeah, I just want to clarify that he did not have 50% mitigation back then. That came with his latents, which were much, much, much later.
Right, and the other thing that we have to keep in mind is at that point in time when Nicole was first released, like, all the other bards were buffing you for like 100% or 110% stat buffs, and they were singing, so you couldn't do any other actions. But Nicole is like, I do bigger stat buffs, and then I do everything else at the same time. So
his LB especially was really incredible because it removed your breaks and then gave you 134% stats and restored HP and MP.
To be
the whole
fair,
party.
I found that that at the time his LB was very, very hard to use because of how much it cost. You could gear him for a lot of fill rate, but getting it filled up in a timely fashion was not realistic on a lot of trials.
You know how you did that? You used Mercenary Ramza as your provoke tank because he had Entrust, and he filled that baby up every turn if he wanted.
So, like I said, it wasn't really a good choice if you wanted a strong team comp.
Burke Ramza and Wilhelm at the time were the only basically viable tanks.
Yeah, I'm gonna say, like, if Muspel is ass fingering barbecue or Shuen every podcast episode, then Hazard is definitely plugging Merc Ramza every episode.
But he was actually really good at this time. Like
Kids, at one point in the game, the units I liked were really good. Okay.
But anyway, going back to Maritime Strategist Nico, it was like as Trim said, the reason why he was so good was before that we only ever had bards as the buffers, and Nico was really the first kind of our modern day buffer who has W ability, who can do more than just buff attack magic. And it's not even that, like, it's like we didn't have a really good buffer until a long time after Nico. The next one was what? Zargabath?
Zargabath came earlier.
Zargabath came earlier, but he did less. The 6-star
before
did
enhancements. He wasn't.
Yeah, the problem with him was that his enhancements gave him the multicast, right? The easy way to use the multicast.
In hindsight, it feels to me like Nicole was the point that Elim and I guess kind of Gumi started experimenting with giving W ability to non-DPS. Like, nowadays, virtually every single unit has W ability. Back then, it was quite rare.
Well, right. In fact,
or triple.
I'm pretty sure non-DPS sort of got it before DPS, because wasn't, like, double cast a big...
I think Prompto was the first.
I think Sakura was the first one.
Maybe for mages, but
Prompto was the first as far as I'm aware.
Yeah, with double ability, yeah, but he just
I remember double ability being like a big deal about Hyo's release, because that was what made a large part of what made double hand good compared to dual wield.
Prompto,
that was a big game changer because he had
W ability did exist long before that. How do you pronounce her name? Ida, the Final Fantasy 14 unit.
Huh?
Oh yeah.
She has
Does that count?
Well,
Illusionist Nicole had it. So
Nicole was one of the first relevant like
this is for damage dealers.
Supporters
I just
to have
remember
it.
Sakura was one of the first ones that had it, and it was really.
Wait, no. Transtera had it.
Yeah, but she's a damage dealer too, wasn't she?
Oh yeah.
Wait,
but you had to
I thought we were
it.
talking about damage dealers.
Yeah, you had to unlock it.
Yeah, sure.
Anyways,
but going back to Nickel, actually, did you guys? What stood out to me was the incredible amount of MP that he had and also consumed. You guys, like, his abilities were costing like 50 to 75.
Yeah, I remember
MP.
at the time, like, you wanted to give him something like Ayaka's TM or HT Link's TM, so that he had that huge MP refresh, because otherwise he had to spend a lot of time babysitting himself, basically, because he would run dry.
Yeah, because before that there was the whole thing with Teleth again, even calling back to that, she had her ability that cost 99 MP, which was the most expensive ability that seems laughable now. And there was the whole thing of, like, well, not quite whale builds, but like intensive builds trying to get her to 99 MP refresh.
Oh,
per
I
turn.
remember that. That was
And
cute.
so she could actually spam that.
Now we've got Xyrus with his 999.
Yeah.
For Tillith, it was somewhat less prohibitive because she had 10% innate regen per turn. Nicole didn't. But
That's a big deal.
But she
Yeah, that
still
was a big
did need
benefit.
gearing for it.
Yeah, I remember that. People were actually making builds to give Tillith 99 MP regen per turn. That was so cool.
Well,
Yes, she could spam a full heal.
I would say Tillith and Ayaka were both really, really instrumental with their MP refreshers, really instrumental in Sheraton, the first chamber of the arms boss, because she would drain your MP like crazy. And you basically needed those two or Ace to keep up with it. And I remember I didn't have any of the three, and I really struggled with that fight because of it.
I think one way we could try to, I guess, close this topic for this week is right before the 7-star era. The most highlight release, I think, was Reagan, in terms of, like, he was the last 6-star era chainer that we got. Because I think before Reagan, it was Sephiroth and then Onion Knight, and then there was a bit of a dry spell until we got Reagan, and then we go into the 7-star era. Which even by then, the 7-star era, like the first 7-star unit was like Squall, and wasn't that great either. So it's like, I think Reagan was a huge point for a lot of people, just because he's a very popular character. He had a CG, and he was our last great 6-star.
Did you say Reagan?
Yes, I did.
Oh my gosh, you've come around. I'm so proud of you.
Yeah.
Be good.
Was Reagan the first strong CG damage dealer?
Who?
Reagan.
Huh.
Because I think a lot of the other... No, I guess Sakura was good, if you liked finishers.
Yeah, Sakura was
Although
good.
finishers were harder to use back then, because we didn't have many support chainers.
Yeah.
Our first CG unit was Pyroglacial Lastwell, and he was absolute trash at 6-star.
Yeah,
so
we
it's like,
had Lastwell, we had Jake, who was really bad, and Sakura.
Lid, Nicole, Sakura, Fina.
Yeah, so I guess Reagan was the first good CG chainer. And arguably the first good CG damage dealer, depending on how you feel about finishers.
Yeah, that's true.
I feel good.
Anyway, though.
So that's part 2 of our retrospective. We'll have part 3 at a later date that will be announced at an even later date.
Wait, we're going to announce it after doing it?
But before that, we're
Just know that we hear you.
hang on, we have to announce the announcement.
Who's going to do the announcement?
Unfortunately, due to delays, we don't know when the announcement for the announcement will be yet. It's not
Please
quite
look forward
ready.
to it.
But we will announce the announcement date of the announcing someday.
Yes, and I will read a letter from the hosts at some point in the future.
Oh, and by request of some listeners on our Discord, can I do the closing?
Can I do the closing? Oh.
Oh, okay. I heard from
Fine.
some of our Korean listeners that you actually said "eat pant" in the episode.
No, I didn't, but I regretted it, so I was going to do it this time around.
Then I must have
Too
ruined
late,
your
you
joke.
missed your chance.
Yeah.
Checkmate, atheists and pant eaters.
Alright. Let's do this.
All right, Cotton, take it away.
Terima kasih kerana sudi mendengar kami punya Global Exclusive Podcast. Sebelum pergi, kamu semua makan seluar.
바지 먹어!
Come pantalon.